New Year! Same extra value meals at McDonald's. Now, get a savory sausage McMuffin with egg, plus hash browns, and a small coffee for just $5. For a limited time only. Prices and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Hawaii, Alaska, and California, and for delivery.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace.
Last year, I went through many different life changes. I needed to take a pause and examine how I was feeling in the inside to better show up for the ones who need me to be my best version of myself.
When you're navigating life's changes, Talkspace can help. Talkspace is the #1 rated online therapy, bringing you professional support from licensed therapists and psychiatry providers that you can access anytime, anywhere.
Living a busy life, navigating a long-distance relationship, becoming a first-step father, Talkspace made all of those journeys possible. I could speak with my therapist in the office. I could speak with my therapist in the comfort of my home. I was never alone.
Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance, no problem. Now get $80 off your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
This is VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss along with Paulie Howard. We are live in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. As always, busy program lined up today. Among the guests, Jeff Seeley in 30 minutes. Best bets at the Farmers Insurance, which begins tomorrow. Sal Paolantonio with a Hall of Fame vote. We will talk to him about that and what happened to Belichick yesterday. Mike Palm on the program. Steve Wiss, Best Bets in Soccer. Matt Humans as well. A little bit later on, we'll get into tonight's Hoops card, additional bets that we have made on the Super Bowl. But we definitely have to begin with the Giannis news. Paulie, the biggest news going right now in sports is that he didn't demand a trade, but he's ready for a new home. Did you like the language and how that message was delivered? I never saw the word trade involved coming out of his side, his team. It was looking for a new home.
Yeah, Shams did that a couple months ago with the same wording, same type of deal where he's ready to move on. It's interesting the differences in numbers from DraftKings to offshore books. Like OKC is 70-1 at DraftKings. They're 10-1 offshore. Mm-hmm. If they want to go for this, and maybe because they have so much to offer, the longest shot should be like the Wizards and the Mavs and these type of teams, not the Thunder, who actually could give up the most. And there's also a difference. It's like Miami is 6-1 at DraftKings. They're 12-1 offshore. I think the Heat can do this.
Sure they can. Brad from Arizona chiming in earlier today. He got down in Oklahoma City at 70-1. Now it's phrased differently. At DraftKings, it's actually phrased like this: the next regular season minute played after the trade deadline. So they don't have to trade him right now. And I'll give you an example why. The Knicks, this is according to, immediate feedback that people were out there, like NBA people were saying, the Knicks and the Heat are probably the two front runners. However, the Bucks can get more if they wait until the offseason. The example of that would be the Miami Heat, according to somebody who covers the salary cap, tracks it for a living, said the Heat can trade 2 first-round picks, but 4 in the offseason. The Knicks can trade 0 right now, but up to 2 in the offseason. So the Bucks, when they are going to be, having these conversations, they probably need to be as patient as possible, which goes against everything that you're about because you're the most impatient person in the world.
Yeah, I would wait, though.
And I'll pull back the curtain here a little bit. Our technical director here, Andrew, is from Milwaukee, lifelong Bucks fan. You have been riding him relentlessly every single day for how long, Andrew? Now, 8 months?
Yeah.
It's going to happen, Andrew. They're going to get rid of Giannis, and every day he's like, Paulie, please shut up. And now you finally got your wish.
Yeah, he gave in. He caved. He knows it's going to happen. They're actually, it's more beneficial to them to wait because they can tank, not play him, and then get a good pick in this loaded draft. And then you can get more in the offseason if they choose to do that. Mm-hmm. That remains to be seen. But that's one way to attack it. And that's a win-win situation. And the other one is giddy up because we're 8 days away if this could get done. So you mentioned the wording, how it's put up at DraftKings. But this is getting interesting here where, Houston's the favorite offshore, but the Knicks are the favorite at DraftKings. And I also think Atlanta has pieces. That would be a good fit. We are just giddy at the possibility of Wemby playing with Freak. And the Spurs are 6-1. But we'll see if the Knicks want to go for this too, because there have been, I don't know what the teams are, but according to reports, there have been aggressive offers. So that's a good thing.
Well, okay, so this is from Brian Windhorst in the last hour. First of all, earlier today, he mentioned the Warriors do indeed have the assets for a Giannis trade. And then JVT was telling me as we crossed over here that Windhorst was saying the offer to beat is going to be the one that the Warriors can put together. Now, to me, this is very beatable. The package would be Kuminga, Jimmy Butler, mid-30s, torn ACL, and some picks.
Oh.
That is extremely beatable.
Yeah.
There are a ton of teams in the NBA. And again, we can't live in a world where Mikal Bridges gets four first-round picks, and then we're going to have the scrap heap thrown to Milwaukee for one of the best players we've seen.
Those days are gone, though. But I think
this guy.
If a team makes a mistake, you just can't. It's hard to go back and say, "Well, look what Gobert went for," even though a team lost their minds. Maybe he winds up in the Mecca. Their offer was floated to be Cat, OG, and I also take back the Kuzma contract, and that Kuzma contract is vile and nasty. It's 4 for $90. Oh, God.
Yeah, the reason why the Knicks are not even on the table for me is because getting OG Anunoby and Karl Anthony Towns does literally nothing for me in the future, and you need to build for the future if you're the Bucks. And you think about the picks in the future that they would be getting from New York, those are with Giannis on the team. So where will the Knicks be picking in the first round? 27th? 30th every single year?
Well, do they want to do that? Do you want to totally rebuild? Maybe they just want to be. Look what the Chicago Bulls have been doing for 10 years. Yeah, we'll try to get in that play-in, that 8, 9, 10 seed.
No, thank you.
I mean, that's the Bulls refuse to rebuild.
Yeah, and if you're the Bucks and you accept a deal from the Knicks, that's exactly where you would be. You'd be a fringe playoff team pretty much every single year, and that would clearly not be worth it. Now, Bobby Marks had an amazing breakdown today, and he was ready to rock and roll with this column. You could tell because it dropped pretty much right after the news. But he broke down, I think it was 11 different teams with the chances to land him and what they can offer, and then he rated every single team on a deal difficulty scale out of 1 to 10. Mm-hmm. And so, for example, the Knicks, according to him, it was an 8 out of 10, 10 being the hardest. And he wrote very light on draft assets, heavily into the apron and its financial limitations. And because it is over in the first apron, New York is not allowed to take on more salary than it sends out in a trade. And that would leave the front office with the option of swapping Cat straight up or packaging a combo of Anunoby, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges. But Bridges cannot be traded until February 1st. That's one example. He also said that OKC, long explanation here, that they would be 8 out of 10, a deal difficulty scale. But they have more picks than God.
Yeah.
It's the whole question comes down to, do they want to break up this young core that they have? I think they can approach it any way they want, and you can't blame OKC. If they decide to say, no, we're going to pass on Giannis, even though we had the assets to make it work, I don't think you can blame them for that. Or if they give up 4 picks and a proven guy, you say, okay, they're going to go for it, and they can win, who knows, 2, 3 more. He said, Bobby Marks wrote that the Spurs are a 6 out of 10. But what are we talking about with the Spurs core that you have to give up? Castle, Harper, and picks?
That'd be a lot. I don't know what they're playing good ball, and their future's bright. Maybe they don't want to touch it. I don't blame them if they don't want to do that. The other thing is why they're in a win-win situation is they got blasted last night. They're 3-12 when he doesn't play, and they've been outscored 12 points per 100 possessions.
Yeah, they're a terrible team.
When he's off the floor. Yeah, absolutely. So with a loaded draft, and maybe they could walk into a top 3 pick. Who knows? Stranger things have happened.
How about the Jay Crowder tweet from earlier today?
Forgot about it. Good point.
Yep.
You're running the organization. I forgot all about that. They were 30-13, and they fired their coach. And then they brought in Doc, and they haven't done anything since. So,
Jay Crowder was on that team, longtime journeyman, very good, nice NBA player. So he went back and found the tweet from Woj almost 2 years to the date, January 23rd, 2024, the breaking news that the Bucks were dismissing Adrian Griffin. Jay Crowder quote tweeted and said, "We were 13-30, by the way, to bring in Doc. This is what started the avalanche." I wonder how many other players feel the same exact way.
Mm-hmm. It's unfortunate. It looks out like he did a good job. They just didn't like him. Maybe he was too hard on him, and the players revolted. And so even with that record, they said bon voyage. But I also wouldn't put it past one of these owners or GMs to do something silly after what we just watched and witnessed with Luka.
Yeah.
So it's just, Anything's possible here, and it's juicy now that we're a week away from the deadline.
Well, I would say this too, because you need to get ahead of this if you want to bet a team in the future market to like win the NBA title, because who doesn't want to be on Giannis, whatever team he's going to go to if he does. But again, I'm not rushing out, and I'm not advising anybody to go say, hey, bet the Hawks because they can make it happen. I think the Rockets
Yeah, how about that? They're 40-1. Now, would you do that because you just got KD? But the Rockets are 40 at DraftKings. They're the favorites offshore at one book.
Yeah, I mean, I think 40-1. Now, here's the thing. Do they want to mess with their young core? Because they got a ton of young talent. But if I'm the Bucks, I say the deal begins and ends with Amen Thompson, and I don't know if the Rockets would be willing to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They got some dudes that they can kick back to Milwaukee, though, including picks, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
But Bobby Marks said 7 out of 10 that happened. I would 40-1. Now, if you guys hear about any inside information out there, please let us know. But this can also drop like a hammer, because the Shams tweet last year with the Luka trade, who had that in the world? Not a single human being.
Oh.
So to your point, NBA teams might lose their minds, and it could be the shockwaves that could be felt from this potential trade. It could be a team coming out of nowhere to land them. And also, I'm not running to bet Golden State right now if they're the leaders with Golden State with him.
Yeah, guy off a torn ACL? The Butler? No. Prickly pear? No way. Yeah. But I don't know how they're looking at it. I don't know if they just want a ton of picks and rebuild, or they want a couple picks and some proven players where they can at least make the fan base happy and they can go out there and maybe make the playoffs or in the play-in. You know, I don't know how ownership's looking at it.
I think the best option might be to wait till the offseason and send him off to Miami. Because you can get a really nice haul from Miami, and I think they'd be a team.
That's right.
Now, how about this? For this year
Probably,
anyway, Paul, there's maybe a chance he doesn't play again this season.
Yes, that's what, And Spears from ESPN said he's played his last game as a Buck.
So how about a Bucks win total under
Yeah, not
right now?
bad. Yep.
How many
Let
more
the
games?
tanking begin too. Yes.
Sure. Like
Very
let's
good.
pretend all that's accurate. By the way, he self-diagnosed him with that injury. He's like, I'm going to be out about a month.
Yes.
That's what Giannis said. Okay, we'll take your word for it. But let's pretend for a second that Giannis doesn't play another game with Milwaukee this year. How many more games are they going to win? They're pathetic without him.
Yep. No doubt.
They might not win more than 5-6 more games.
The other thing, you could have the information, but you have these eccentric owners, and they could, like I had the information yesterday about Monken. But then again, Haslam kept changing his mind. Mm-hmm. And then Monken cashes 9-1 today to go to the Browns.
Yeah. Should have been stronger on that yesterday. And I can't believe that we were both told that Monken was probably going to be the guy. Hey, you can get get Kelce, whatever.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm looking at 9-1, but then again, Schwartz kept going up. And he was like minus $4, and now he's like, well, the hell with it. You're not going with me. I don't want to be with this organization.
I know, but then you had the information from a guy very close to the situation.
Yeah.
We'll hit on a little bit of tonight's card coming up next, and also Super Bowl props. Paulie fired off a bet yesterday that I tailed. It makes too much sense based on the numbers throughout the entire regular season and the playoffs.
So you're listening to this podcast because you want an edge. But what if I told you you're only halfway there? You've got the mindset. Now it's time to get the toolkit to match. Here's the thing. Pro bettors spend thousands on data and tools, but what they don't want you to know is you can get the same edge for a fraction of the cost with VSiN Pro. With VSiN Pro, you get access to expert picks, public betting data, prop projections, powerful tools, analytics, and more. Tap the link in the description and see why thousands of bettors are already using VSiN Pro to cash more bets.
New year, same extra value meals at McDonald's. Now, get a savory sausage McMuffin with egg, plus hash browns, and a small coffee for just $5. For a limited time only. Prices and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Hawaii, Alaska, and California, and for delivery.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace.
Last year, I went through many different life changes. I needed to take a pause and examine how I was feeling in the inside to better show up for the ones who need me to be my best version of myself.
When you're navigating life's changes, Talkspace can help. Talkspace is the #1 rated online therapy, bringing you professional support from licensed therapists and psychiatry providers that you can access anytime, anywhere.
Living a busy life, navigating a long-distance relationship, becoming a first-step father, Talkspace made all of those journeys possible. I could speak with my therapist in the office. I could speak with my therapist in the comfort of my home. I was never alone.
Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay, no insurance, no problem. Now get $80 off your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Get some best bets here. Third event on the PGA Tour this week as it goes to beautiful Torrey Pines in the San Diego area. And our buddy Jeff Seeley joins the program now. He is on the Progressive Guest Line. You can follow him on X at Cupmaker Jeff. And the name of the podcast is also called the Cupmaker Podcast. Jeff, good afternoon. Thanks for the time, pal. How are you?
Great, fellas.
So let's begin with the guy that you're going to start your betting card with this week. It's Ludwig Aubert, who won an event at Torrey Pines last year. It was the Genesis. It was not the Farmers. They moved the Genesis because of the wildfires in Southern California. And so you have enough faith to add him this week. You like what you're seeing out of him?
Yeah, I mean, guys, he was sick last week, and I think that's the only reason. I mean, obviously Xander's good. I think that it had Ludwig not WD'd last week, I think he probably would have opened as the favorite. So he had some sort of illness and made him WD. Maybe he just wanted to get out of there and get ready for this. But, I mean, he's even money to finish top 20, which I've already played. But aside from the Tour Championship at Eastlake, he's gained off the tee and on approach and an insane 10 straight events dating back to last June. Like, that is just a phenomenal run. He putted horribly last year at the Farmers, losing 6 straights on the green en route to a T42 finish, but finished T9 here in 2024, won the Genesis, as you mentioned. So we know he's got it in him. He beat Maverick McNeely, who we'll talk about here in a second, by a stroke of the Genesis. So I'm excited to see him play here again. He's very comfortable here, and I think 17-1 is a fair number.
Okay, you mentioned McNeely. How about some couple guys in the 30-1 range then?
Yeah, so I do like McNeely. I like him again. I mean, he's 32-1. I played him plus 140, top 20 as well. He's got the irons dialed in coming in, and we know he can putt here. He's a California kid, well known. His dad was the founder of Sun Microsystems, and he's coming in off a tune-up at the Sony where he gained across the board. Now we're getting, as I said, this California kid who we know can do it all. Runner-up at the Genesis to Oberg last year, 32-1 or so. I think it's a good number. So I think it'd be fun if we saw a rematch of the two of them on Sunday for sure. And then Hideki Matsuyama, 30-1, plus 130, top 20. He's played this event over 10 times. And the thing with Hideki is you always worry about is the putting. He's had spike putting weeks here, gaining over 5 strokes with a putter in this event 2 of the last 8 times he played here. So he can spike with a putter here. His ball striking's dialed in, gained off the tee and on approach in 4 of his last 4 events. He won the Hero Challenge in December, so the ball striking's there. I trust it'll be there again this week. It's going to come down to a spike putting week, but hey, I'll take if 1 out of 4 times he gets a spike putting week, I'll take that for 30-1 all day long. So I like those 2 guys in that 30-1 range.
All right, let's work our way down the board here a little bit. Nicolai Højgaard is on your card this week at 55-1. You like him top 20 as well. Why?
Yeah, I do, guys. I like him, and I like his brother. I like Nicolai a little bit better, though. 55-1, plus 225, top 20. He had a really good finish in Dubai last week, so finished 4th there, and has 3 more finishes inside the top 15 in 4 of his last 5 events. So the thing is, they say all the time, when you come to this event, you want to come in with form. You don't try and find your form at Torrey Pines. And he's got form, so I'm excited about that. Iron play's been terrific. Gained with the iron in 6 straight events. Finished 2nd here in 2024 when he gained 5 strokes tee to green and only about a stroke and a half putting. So we know he can perform well here. We had a guy who's had a top 5, coming in with great form. I think 55-1 is a very, very fair price, and I'm very interested in that. And then Garrick Higgo is 56-1. I played him plus 225, top 20 as well. Had a really good swing season with 4 finishes inside the top 7 in 4 events. Finished T16 a month ago in the Euro Tour, so he also comes in with good form. Also very capable of spike putting weeks, which he illustrated all fall, and he'll need one of those to contend this week. So he's played this event 3 times, last year's T45 being his best finish, if he carries in the form, though, that he displayed since September, I like him a lot for a top 20 finish, and he could make a run on Sunday. He's won twice on tour, but this would be by far and away his biggest win.
How about some pizza money on your BFF, Koepka?
You know, I was just thinking about that, Paulie. If you can parlay Koepka to win. I just looked at Bet365, for example. They've got Koepka at 75-1. You can parlay Koepka and the Seahawks money line and get 108-1. So there you go. There's
okay.
maybe if you're gonna play Koepka, maybe there's a pizza money play to do. Now look, I mean, I have zero expectations of him this week. Honestly, I'd be surprised if he made the cut. To be completely honest with you. So a run by him would be fun. I think really more than anything for him, this is just a tune-up for the Waste Management, which we know he's won before, and I think would be pretty exciting. I don't know if you guys saw his comment. The last time the Seahawks and Patriots played in the Super Bowl, he won the Waste Management.
Okay.
So,
good angle.
So and he's the one who said it, which I thought was kind of funny. So it's not typically you hear these guys say, but I guess maybe he's trying to hype himself up. We'll see how that works out for him.
Okay, you went to war last week with Sami Välimäki. Is he on the card again this week?
Dude, he is, and his price has only gotten better. You have to hit your long irons well here. Nobody in the field hits their long irons better than Sami Välimäki. He's 175-1 and plus 430 top 20. I mean, he had an off week with his irons last week, guys. It's that simple. First time he lost with his irons in his last 9 events. He gained with the driver last week, so as long as his driver stays in play, I'm going back to the well with him, trusting he can get back on track. We know he can putt here. He's gained an average of 3.5 strokes putting in his last 2 trips, so we know he can putt here. I'm just chalking it up to a bad week last week. If he bounces back, boy, we have an unbelievable price on Sammy. Even top 20 at plus 430 is phenomenal.
All right. So the last 2 weeks, you said Nick Taylor, first round leader, and he finished tied for the first round lead. Last week I said, well, how about Välimäki? And you said, yeah, he's a good candidate for first round as well. And then you said, add on Pearson Coody. So, and he did. He tied for the first round lead as well. Have you bet anybody yet? Do you like anybody for the first round this week?
You know, if we're going to do a first-round bomb this week, the first thing you got to do is you got to make sure you're looking at the North Course, right?
Good
if
point.
you're not playing on the North Course,
address this, please.
You're not going to.
Yeah, can you address this, please? We got several emails on this because on the menu it says first-round leader, and then the course, please. Yes.
Yeah, so that's the key. So I mean, if it's two different, they're playing the North Course and the 2 different courses day one, and then they play the South Course on the weekend. So make sure you're looking at that and you're knowing what market you're betting in. So take Sami Välimäki for a really good example. If it's just the first round period, like Sammy's playing the North Course, he can go low. He's a good first round leader candidate. Another guy who we all know can go low one round, Will Zalatoris. He's on the North Course. He's another good candidate in that regard. So I don't mind him. But one guy I'm interested in, I'm checking he's played and as a South Course first round leader. If you want to take a bomb, Johnny Kiefer, guys. Johnny Kiefer, we talked about him a little bit before. Guy who broke all of Scotty Scheffler's records on the Korn Ferry Tour. Showed up, had a decent weekend this weekend, performed pretty well. I'm interested in him at a long odds on a first round leader on the South Course. I think that'd be a fun dart.
Very good. So we kicked this around a little bit yesterday. We would love to see like a book offer, a prop of, and you could just bet this and roll it over every week if you'd like. But will Scotty Scheffler finish in the top 10 every week this year?
I don't know how he does it, to be honest. I mean, barring injury. I mean, it's crazy. It sounds crazy to say, but I mean, I can't think. I mean, aside from Tiger Woods, I can't think in my lifetime as many good runs as we've seen from golfers. I can't recall anything quite like this. I mean, you know, Jordan Spieth had a run where he was good. DJ had a run. I mean, Koepka had an amazing run in majors, but this is just, it's unbelievable. And like, heck, we had Siwoo Kim last week. Siwoo Kim was the leader going into Sunday, and Scotty blew him out of the water. He blew everybody out of the water. He has a different gear. And it was interesting listening to Blaze Brown, the 18-year-old who played with him on Sunday, was just in awe watching Scotty chip. And he's just like, he's just so much better at shipping than I am. And it was just really interesting to hear a guy who's, out there playing on tour in the hunt on Sunday in awe of his playing partner who's kicking his butt as they're going down the stretch. So he's a special guy, special talent. As long as he stays out of jail, I think he'll. I think it'd be very interesting. But I might just do that. I might just start rolling it over every week, $100 on Scotty top 10, and see how far it goes.
Why not? Yeah, just avoid either Louisville or don't be a maniac on the roadways down in that part of the country, and you don't have to go to jail then. You can follow Jeff on X. He's at Cupmaker Jeff. Again, podcast is called the Cupmaker Podcast. It'll return next week for the Waste Management. Thanks, pal. Go get him this week.
Thanks, fellas. Take care.
Harris English, and he joined us, by the way, on the Progressive Guest Line. Harry English won this event last year, 100-1. Matthew Pavon the year before that at 150-1. So bombs have cashed here the last 2 years. You go back to 2022. Luke List at 90-1. So that's 3 out of the last 4 years. Sandwiched in between, Max Homa at 22-1 is the winner. It's a fun tournament, though. I love watching it with the guys who are hang gliding around the area, and then they get the drone shots out there as well. Up next, win some, lose some. Paulie's going to recap the action from last night, and I tell you about a candidate for the worst beat of the college basketball season coming up next.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Thanks for checking in today, watching on YouTube TV, listening on Sirius XM channel 158, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, or any of our outstanding affiliates across the country. Wednesdays at this time, it is the maestro joining us in studio now, Mike Palm. He is the VP of Circle Las Vegas. Hey, Mike, what's going on?
Hello, Mitch. Hello, Paul. How are you?
Doing really well. I was just telling Paulie about this during the break. Can you imagine if the Super Bowl would have been like Rams-Bills? Like, that's a super sexy Super Bowl.
Yeah, with the 2 All-American quarterbacks.
Yeah, and the high-flying offenses. Is this a sexy Super Bowl so far to the bettors? We have a week and a half left to go before it obviously kicks off.
Well, Seattle isn't the national brand they used to be when they had the Legion of Boom. I think Patriots-Rams would have been, because you had the 2 candidates for MVP squaring off against each other, with the old guard with Stafford and May. But I think you can make the argument because Seattle's been so good. And the incredible story with New England and May seems to be like a likable kid. And who doesn't like Vrabel? I mean, that's a great story, too. I mean, Tennessee didn't want to keep him. He was no good. Maybe the greatest organizational move, firing Kraft firing Mayo after 1 year and bringing in Vrabel. So I think the handle will be okay. I was a little bit worried about having Denver with no quarterback, really dampening the expectations for the Super Bowl.
Absolutely. Yeah, no call. Was this a hedge? By the $1 million?
Correct.
Oh, it was.
So elaborate on that, please.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the guy came in August, and I know of at least 2 other books in town. He made the same bets. I don't know if they were the same amounts.
Okay.
And obviously the odds might have been different. But early August, 4 $50,000 bets. Seattle to make the playoffs, which I believe was about plus 180. Seattle to win the West, which I believe we booked at plus 605. Seattle to win the NFC at 37-1, and Seattle to win the Super Bowl at 75-1. 50,000 on each. So he had already, was up almost 400,000 on us. So he had that bet at 50,000 at 35-1. He hedged 500 on the Rams plus 2.5. So he had a little middle there he could have hit. Didn't happen. I'm sure he wished. McVay kicks the field goal there. He's sitting on it, right?
Oh, mama.
And then he came back with the 1.1 million it was 2 bets, but effectively at plus 188. So.
And that was for New England to win the game outright. He's not trying to win both bets here.
Correct. This is one or the other. This is a money line bet.
So he's locking in money then. Is this a regular?
It'd be nice to have a team at 75-1 that's a 5-point favorite. Also in the Super, they get to be a 5-point favorite.
God.
How often does that happen?
No kidding.
In the preseason invitational, this is a good story. You know where you guys played in that preseason. They were one of the 4 teams not taken. The people at the end. And the host picked New England at 90-1 for Wesley Hernandez.
No.
You know, the guy that goes in all the time, and he didn't have him. I think he was a 0 score, and he was picking 30th or whatever.
Oh, my God.
And the host, Chris Waterman, had to pick for him, and that Wesley just said, pick whatever you think's the best left. New England was one of the 4 teams not chosen by the people in attendance, so he's got him at 90-1 for the 1,500. That's nice. Pretty nice.
What
That's
a
great-
story. What a story.
Oh, that's unbelievable. Their win total is 8.5.
Yeah, but they were one of the 4 not chosen by.
one
That
took
draft is always drunk. We know that. It's the funnest part of the weekend to get to the draft, no matter the sport. It's always crazy.
Wow. And this, by the way, the person who came here dancing around in August, do I understand this right? It was a first-time bettor. He's not like a regular who lives here?
No, we didn't know him, but I know he bet at MGM as well, and I heard one. So because I know several have written articles and Todd Dewey and that. So he got down in at least 3 places. He was really strong on Seattle, and I mean, it's not like a fluke. I mean, they played very, very well.
Yeah,
They're terrific.
Yeah. How about the guy? It's interesting because it's a monster payout, and your good friend Jeff Benson tweeted it. How about the guy who went Patriots over Seattle in the exacta?
$100 on August 7th or 8th over the counter at Tuscany to pay $310,000. How do you like that? Oh, he's got the wrong team favor for the hedge, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that nice for $100?
For $100.
$310,000 payout? I wonder how many exactas he bet. I should have Jeff go. I mean, maybe there was more than one.
That's fine. That's fair. But
Yeah, sure,
still.
But he doesn't have it the other way.
I know.
How did he not have it the other way?
You're right, because BetMGM had the specific matchup.
Yeah, Quinella.
1,000 to 1. Yeah, well said, the Quinella.
That is interesting, by the way, when you do exact matchups like that. Do you bet both sides? Is that just in case, or do you just say, I'm going to bet one way?
Maybe you have a strong opinion that one team's going to win it, and you pick 3 or 4 teams from the other conference, and maybe he was very strong on the Patriots because that's the team he picked to win.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So 1.1 so far from that gentleman. What's the other biggest bet or bets that you've taken so far?
So that's the only 7-figure bet. We took some money early on the Seahawks when we opened 3.5. Obviously, I thought that was strange because I always thought the look ahead was going to be 4.5 or 5, and then it opened 3.5. And so it got bet up pretty quick. So we took a couple 6-figure bets, but no other 7s. But we're looking. As Derek says, we love to take a bunch of 7-figure bets here. So
sure,
why not?
I told him to go to 5.5.
Well, yeah, you'll take them.
Yeah, you're damn right.
You'll get there. Come on.
If he has an opinion, you can get the money.
Yeah.
Right. 5's not a very common landing spot. You guys can put up with that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, right. That's my dad always used to say if it's 5, always bet the dog. Anytime a game is 5, they're begging you to bet the favorite when a number's 5. So you always just say, just bet the dog all the time at 5. You'll turn out okay.
Okay, so when the game's finished on Sunday, then what did your gut say? I asked Sal Palantonio the same thing.
The level of play in the 2 games was so much different to me. It was kind of like watching a Division III game against the Miami and Indiana. A little bit like that, right? I mean, and maybe weather had a factor. I think here's one of my takeaways. Football weather people should just find a new line of work. You'll never be praised for getting the weather right, but you'll be roundly criticized for saying it looks good and there's only a 5% chance, right? And they say, how could they have missed it, right? How could they have? You can never satisfy anybody. It's just, to me, I would say that the Rams should be 4 over New England, right? I mean, the game's 2.5 and it's at Seattle, which tells you the game's really a pick 'em, right? Almost on a neutral, or Seattle a half. So either way, I did see look-aheads if it was Denver. One was Seattle was 9.5 over them, and the Rams were 8.5.
I think that had the Broncos gotten there with Stidham, the way that the Rams-Seahawks game played out, that would have, I think, opened where it was almost touching 10.
Right.
It had to.
It was just a very high level of football, too,
very
right?
much
I mean,
so,
what a great game.
Sal,
I want to get your thoughts because Sal Pal was there.
Yeah.
And he said he was pounding the table when Peyton didn't kick the field goal. And then Peyton goes, well, I was thinking 14-0. I just can't believe with a backup quarterback.
You don't want a 10-point lead in that. And New England had generated no offense at that point, right? You were in total control. Why give them momentum? Why give them any momentum there?
Yeah.
And he didn't know the weather was going to turn that bad and you weren't going to be able to score in this. But I saw a comment he made about Ben Johnson not taking the field goal.
That? That's accurate.
He criticized Ben Johnson for not taking the field goal.
The week before.
Yes.
What are all these coaches doing, not kicking field goals?
We need all the stats we have in sports, right? All these analytics. We need a new stat for the NFL and college. Refused points. And just chart it every time that a team. Now, if they go and they make a touchdown, you can give them +4. And if they don't, it's -3. And just track that for each team.
I love it. Do it, too, when Bill Cowher rips the guy when he's actually wrong and the guy went for it and scored. like Johnson did against the Rams.
Right.
Though,
And I also added on top of this discussion is, well, how was the game playing out? Everything that you just said is exactly correct. New England couldn't get an inch on offense. May look like he was completely shot out there. The offense was absolutely broken. The Broncos defense was great. So a 10-point game probably is much closer to a 14-point game anyway. If that game is 24-21 late second quarter, then you go for it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because you don't feel you can stop the other team.
Yeah,
But the
correct.
Stidham ridiculous lateral play. I mean, swung the whole
stupid.
game. I want to know now, maybe these NFL officials New York is getting involved more now than Toronto in hockey. I mean, they're in these officials' ear every play. You could. How about the guy judging the punts flying out of bounds?
Good luck.
He would walk up and then he would stop and go back 3 yards. Someone was in his ear telling him where to spot the ball.
Left. Hold on,
Go. No, back too far.
If he makes the field goal to tie it at 10, how long does the game go on?
It might go 3 overtimes.
I think you're right.
It's impossible.
I think you're
Those
right.
conditions, you couldn't run, you couldn't pass, you couldn't kick.
No.
They would have had to delay the Rams game, and the Rams game might have kicked off at 8 Pacific.
No kidding. Do you want neutral site games for the championship Sunday?
No, absolutely
Terrible
not.
idea, right?
I think the college football should play on home fields all the way to the championship game.
I like that.
I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Earn it. The higher seed always gets the home.
Circa, the place to be. And how about this World Cup giveaway? Getting close. Larger than life experience. One lucky winner gets a 2-night stay, a VIP cabana for the games at Stadium Swim, $500 in credit, $250 in food and beverage, limo transportation, cocktails at Legacy Club. Enter now, World Cup giveaway at Circa. For details, visit circalasvegas.com. 2-night stay, VIP cabana, the games at the pool, $500 in credit, $250 food and beverage, limo, and cocktails. circalasvegas.com. Get up there.
Great promo as always here at the casino, the hotel, the resort. Mike, quickly here, can you put into perspective how popular squares are?
Well, they're wildly popular. You know, when we first just started doing this 5 years ago, we were the only ones.
Yep.
Now, there's certain books that do them for every NBA game. Every NBA game, every NFL game. So, I mean, I own one of the 4 patents on the thing. I'm keep checking my mail.
The NFL's forgotten man passed away a few days ago. You cannot be serious next.
Finding places to go hunting doesn't have to be hard. Go Hunt is an application for your phone and for your computer that lets you tell us where you want to hunt, and we'll show you what tags you can draw. Tons of information about the unit, photos from the area, and you can even connect with other hunters to see how they've done when they had the tag. You will see what tags you can put in for, your odds of drawing that tag, and everything you need to know about the area before you even go there. If you're ready to make your next season a success, head to GoHunt.com and make sure to use promo code LISTEN, LISTEN, at checkout to get $50 back to spend in the Go Hunt gear shop.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace.
Last year, I went through many different life changes. I needed to take a pause and examine how I was feeling in the inside to better show up for the ones who need me to be my best version of myself.
When you're navigating life's changes, Talkspace can help. Talkspace is the #1 rated online therapy, bringing you professional support from licensed therapists and psychiatry providers that you can access anytime, anywhere.
Living a busy life, navigating a long-distance relationship, becoming a first-step father, Talkspace made all of those journeys possible. I could speak with my therapist in the office. I could speak with my therapist in the comfort of my home. I was never alone.
Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay, no insurance, no problem. Now get $80 off your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
We'll get some best bets here from VSiN host Matt Youmans. We go out to the progressive guest line. A lot to get into with Matt here. Before we get some early thoughts on the Super Bowl, college basketball tonight, and some golfers that you like at Torrey Pines, how would you rank Monken to the Browns today? How would you rank like the top 2 or 3 worst hires so far in this coaching cycle, Matt?
I would have said I was stunned by the Browns hire today, but it's the Browns, so I wasn't that surprised. Todd Monken is the worst of the NFL head coaching hires in this carousel. It's a 3-horse race, though, and there's two other horses in it. Big Mike McCarthy is going to be a big flop in Pittsburgh, and Jeff Hafley in Miami. I don't like that hire either. By the way, Jeff Hafley's defense gives up 25 points in the fourth quarter to the Bears, and he gets a head coaching job.
Yeah.
I don't really like the Hafley hire that much. The McCarthy hire could be good if the Steelers want to tank. If they want to be as bad as possible next year and rebuild and get a high pick in a quarterback draft that's going to be loaded next year, maybe the McCarthy hire could work out. But Big Mike is going to be a big loser in Pittsburgh. I would say the Monken hire is just baffling. I cannot believe it, but it's the Browns. That's the worst.
That was a surprise, no doubt about it. And Schwartz said that's enough, bon voyage. And I don't want to be with this organization either, as he was led to believe he was going to get the job. Props come out tonight down the street at the Westgate, 7 o'clock. And we'll recap it tomorrow with Jeff Sherman. What are your thoughts on maybe some early props or thoughts on the game?
7 o'clock, I'll be there. I'll see you there,
Beautiful.
Paul. You're going to be there, right?
I might pop in, yeah.
Okay. I'll be over there at the Westgate at 7 tonight. They put those up. It used to be a much bigger event than it is now. It's crazy how this prop market has changed, and DraftKings floods the market by Monday on props, and the Westgate unveiling of the props is just not that big a deal, but it'll still be good to be over there tonight. So I'm leaning towards the dog in this game. I can tell you I'm not going to lay the points. But when I look at the props, and I want to wait to look at some different books and compare numbers, so I haven't bet any yet. But I'm looking to bet Sam Darnold over pass attempts, and FanDuel has 29.5 on Darnold. I think he's pretty much silenced the questions about the oblique injury. In the last 2 games against the Rams, Darnold attempted 36 and 34 passes. One thing about the New England defense that's been rock solid has been against the run. And in the 3 playoff games, the Patriots allowed 79, 48, and 87 yards on the ground. Kenneth Walker had 3.3 yards per carry against Rams that last week. He couldn't get much done at all on the ground. I feel like Mike Vrabel's game plan here is going to be load up against the run and make Sam Darnold beat us. And I know some people say, well, he can do it. But Darnold's hot right now. He's playing with confidence. He could beat him. But I think Vrabel's game plan is going to be, we're going to stop the run. We're going to be solid up front. We're going to make Darnold beat us. So he's going to have to put the ball in the air 30-plus times to win the game. So I'm looking to bet Darnold over. And tied into that, I'm looking to bet Kenneth Walker under his rushing yards. And it's right around somewhere around 73.5 to 75. Just based on what I just said about the New England run defense. So there's a couple of props I'm looking at there.
Yeah, it's a very high number for Walker. I know it was 82.5 last week, but he didn't come close against a Rams defensive front that is much worse than New England's, obviously. Right. Little college basketball here. Wisconsin and Minnesota, it feels like they just played. It was a great game. Buzzer beater. Whiskey won it. Now they're laying 8.5 against Minnesota in the rematch here. Do you like the dog?
That was 2 weeks ago in the barn in Minneapolis. And how about that? Yeah, the Badgers won that on that buzzer-beating 3. And I don't think Minnesota has not won a game since. Lost 5 in a row. But in that losing streak, 2 losses in overtime, a loss by 3 to Whiskey, 10 at Illinois. This team's been really competitive. In fact, against Nebraska over the weekend, Minnesota led that game 40-32 with 17.5 minutes to go. From that point, I don't think made a 3-pointer the rest of the game. Might have missed 14 in a row and got blown out. But Nico Medved's the new Minnesota coach, and I really respect him. He's a hell of an X's and O's guy. Really good coach. Came over from Colorado State. He's got a couple of veterans here to lead this team in Cade Tyson and Jalen Crocker Johnson. And I don't know what to make of this Whiskey team, man. At times, the Badgers look really good, and at other times they don't. You know, they were down by 25 and blown out at home by Purdue, and then Badgers go on the road and win at Michigan. And then they would drop a home game to USC over the weekend. So it's a very inconsistent team. But I like the revenge angle here. When you get beat on a buzzer-beating 3 at home, you come back 2 weeks later, I think it's going to be a highly competitive game tonight. And Nico Medved has had the Gophers in every game, even though they haven't been winning. They've been in every game recently. So I took Minnesota plus 8.5 tonight.
The line's up at DraftKings. Friday, Michigan's 1.5 at Michigan State. They failed to cover 7 in a row. Do you have an early thought on that game?
You know what? I've been betting against Michigan and betting against Purdue almost every game in the last few weeks. Do you know Michigan and Purdue, who are preseason top 5 teams, are combined 0-14 against the spread in their last 14 games?
Wow. Good job. There you go.
And, I'm probably going to bet against the Wolverines against Izzo this week. I mean, this Michigan team is really not playing good basketball. They look like the 1996 Bulls for about 6 weeks. And now all of a sudden they can't cover a number, and they were lucky to beat a Nebraska team that had 2 of its top 3 scorers out last night.
Yep.
So, I'll probably play the Spartans against the Wolverines in that one on Friday night.
What do you make Gonzaga at home to St. Mary's? And how good is this Gonzaga team, in your opinion?
Well, Gonzaga's down their big guy. Don't forget about that. They're down 1 player right now. It's crazy to think that a team is, 21-1, and the one loss is by 40 points?
Yes. Yes.
Has that ever happened in the history of college basketball?
I doubt it.
21-1 and 1 loss is by 40.
No way.
I don't really. I don't know what I would make that number right now, because Gonzaga at full strength is a different team than it is right now without the big guy. So I'm not sure, but I will tell you I got a stronger opinion on Michigan State over Michigan on Friday.
Sure.
All right.
Sure. What'd you do with the golf?
So I heard Indy Jeff Seeley on your show today. Indy Jeff and Wes Reynolds, as good as it gets when it comes to golf. And I do have one common play with both of those guys, and that's Maverick McNeely. I'm going to go down to Torrey Pines this weekend, at least for the Saturday round. And Maverick McNeely putts really well on Polana greens. Those Polana greens are bumpy, but he's one of the best putters on tour. And he putts really well there. Maverick was a runner-up when they played the Genesis at Torrey Pines last summer. And in pretty good current form, but I'm going to play him top 20 at plus 160. If you want to play him to win, I think he's right around 36-1, but I'm playing more top 10s and top 20s in this tournament. Jason Day, top 10 plus 350. I also did play Day to win at 33-1. He's a 2-time winner at Torrey Pines, won in 2015 and 2018. But the key is, when you're handicapping this, I look at course form and current form first and foremost, and then how guys putt on Polana greens. But Jason Day tied for second behind Scheffler in the California desert last week. He's back. He's playing well. And don't forget, driving distance is going to be a key stat this week, because you're playing on the north and south courses, but 3 rounds on the south, and that's playing over 7,700 yards. That's the longest regular tour stop, 7,700 yards. You got, if you're a short driver, you don't really have a chance this week. Also, I would look at Patrick Rogers, another guy's a really good putter on Polana, 3 top 10s at Torrey Pines in his past, and he's a long shot at 65-1, but you can play him top 20 at plus 235. I got some other players I like too, but I'll leave that up to Indy Jeff. He's a better golf handicapper.
All right, Matt. Have fun when you go visit and check out the round on Saturday at least. Thank you for the time. Best of luck this week.
See you guys at the Westgate tonight. You got it.
Take care.
Thanks.
Sounds great. Matt Youmans on the Progressive Guest Line, VSiN host at Matt Youmans 24/7 when he's on X. Westgate decided that they had to bump it up to Wednesday just because so many other books now post the stuff right after the games on Sunday.
You mentioned the Denver 17-1 to the over, 163.5 tonight against UMKC. Portland State's in action tonight. Tomorrow. They're the number 1 team ATS. They're 12-2 ATS. And the IU Indy total has moved 1 point as well. They were 9.5-point dogs. They're down to 8.5, and the total's up to 159.5 against Robert Morris.
Okay.
They just played, and they won 96-93. So now maybe we're getting the IU Indy team we thought we'd see much of the year, and we saw early on with these flying over the totals.
How would you bet right now? How would you bet Michigan State?
I would take Michigan State.
Yeah. They were so fortunate to get that win last night. They were dead and buried, and Izzo was blowing a gasket immediately. They were down double digits a lot in that game, and they came back to somehow win. Missed free throw late by Rutgers. Gave Michigan State a chance with that late 3. They tied it, go to overtime, and then they cruised from there. But they were, 14-point favorites?
Yeah.
And Michigan State going into that game, they were playing great basketball.
Just keep riding those streaks, though. But with Purdue and Michigan, that's
crazy. How about
crazy.
that? 0-14 combined?
I knew about the Michigan. I didn't know about the Purdue.
By the way, I absolutely trust Matt as much as anybody when it comes to certain conferences in college basketball. The Big Ten is one of them. He liked Indiana last night. Follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. In Pocket Plays coming up next. And according to this report, we'll tell you about, a team that is not targeting Giannis Antetokounmpo. I really wanted them to go after him.